All right, now joining us, Roza Calderon. She is running in California's 4th district, and she's running against one of the most loathsome Republicans, Tom McClintock. So Godspeed to you.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, Roza.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So you are a Justice Democrat and endorsed by brand new Congress as well. So we know you're uncorrupted, you're not taking corporate PAC money.
Correct.
So there are plenty of Democrats in this race. How do we know who is the most progressive?
There's a few things. Number one, you can always count on who's gonna really promote Medicare for All. There's a lot of people who say that at some point they would push for Medicare for All, but they would rather prefer right now just to fix the ACA, which of course the ACA was great, but it was only something to get the conversation started. It wasn't enough to help millions of people who are underinsured or who just chose to opt out, like myself many times. The fee that it's imposed is cheaper than the actual Medicare, the healthcare fees right now. So those are a few things.
Yeah, can I just pause right there for a second?
Yeah.
Because look, the point that Rose is making is a really great one. If you want to know like the Rosetta Stone of who is actually progressive and who's faking it, anyone who says Medicare for All, sure, we can do that later. No, they're never going to fight for it. They're not going to vote for it. They're not going to fight for it. And so people who say yes, Medicare for All, are progressives.
Right.
And by the way, I mean, we covered Bernie's town hall here on the Young Turks on Medicare for All. Canada's, it costs them half the money it costs us, and they have better results. We could save so much money.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you have enough Congress people who want to do it, then you'll get it. That's kind of how democracy is at least supposed to work.
It's supposed to work that way, and I think that's why we're calling for bold leadership. I think we're at the point where we're tired of anybody who's running for office just making us fake promises, false news, fake news, and actually never following through with it. And that's the big thing that I have the biggest problem with right now, is that I have voted for people who have just fallen short on every promise they ever made to us. To go in there and cause a ruckus and make a difference, it just hasn't happened. And I think that's what's unique about Justice Democrats and even brand new Congress. We have average people, everyday Americans who are going to be running for office, and they know the struggles that we go through, so they're not going to be that disconnected from the things that they just happened to go through. I was one of the casualties through the recession, so I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck and not be able to make ends meet and shuffle through bills. So that's kind of what we're looking for, someone who's going to represent the people.
Yeah, and so I say this all the time about another California race, Allison Hartson running against Dianne Feinstein, but it's just as true in your race and so many others. Why are we begging politicians to be progressive? Why don't we just elect a progressive? Right? Yeah. It's just cut out the middleman. So we elect these corporate Democrats, and the number one thing that the Democratic Party looks for in determining which Democrat they're going to support is how much money they have. And unsurprisingly, they wind up supporting corporations, et cetera, et cetera. Cut out the middleman, just elect a progressive. It's not that complicated. So in fact, let me show you Rosa's links right here, because if you're gonna beat big money, you need volunteers and you need your donations, people-powered campaigns. So electroza.org is the website. You got the donation link there, the volunteer link. All the links are down below. If you're watching on YouTube, just click on them. Super easy. And if you're in our district, please volunteer. It makes all the difference in the world. And if you can't give the time, at least chip in some money to make this a reality. And imagine if we had all these wonderful progressives in office making a difference. Because Roza, you would be part of a bloc that then Washington would have to reckon with. Right? So they say, well, we can't get Calderon's vote unless we're pushing for Medicare for All. How great does that sound?
Sounds amazing, and that's exactly what we're planning to do, And I'm completely dedicated to be and follow through with that bold progressive voice and speak for the people and not take deals where I'm just gonna sit quietly while you tell me we'll talk about it later. No, we're gonna talk about this now because these are pressing issues for all Americans.
And you have on one of your priorities regaining people's negotiating power. What do you mean by that?
I think that's one of the major things that's happening right now. The people, our vote has been lost. Our Congress people, our elected officials, their votes are bought and paid for, and the people don't really have a voice even at the ballot any longer. So our bargaining power has just diminished, and it's going to continue with that trend unless we do something about it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is making sure that we elect people on the issues, not just the party, because we're done. Just like you said, we have corporate Democrats who are taking this kind of money, who are millionaires, who have become millionaires because of the deals they've been able to cut. And the only losers in all of this are the American public. And these people are cashing in on huge quarterly reports, but they're not really planning for future generations.
Yeah, and look, I frame it slightly differently, but it's the same exact thing, which is our representatives were supposed to represent us. That's why they were called representatives, right? And now, unfortunately, they're representing their donors, and we need to get the power back so that they actually, our government looks out for us. Corporations are supposed to look out for themselves. The government's supposed to look out for us. And so I love that concept. One more thing out of your priorities. You have progressives sticking with progressives and not jumping ship. What do you mean by that?
You know, there's a lot of districts right now where there's maybe 10, 20 Democrats running. But because of the scare tactics, especially here in California where we have a jungle election where it's only the top 2 that move forward, a lot of people are pushing progressives to drop out of the races and let just any Democrat take that seat. But not all Democrats are created equal. So I have to remind all of our progressive friends to stick with progressives. Even if it's not this election, the footwork that we do is going to put us in a better position for the next election. And we will be able to get rid of people like Tom McClintock, who've had strongholds on districts like this for so long.
And by the way, in California, there's no excuse. It's a runoff system. So you can vote your conscience, you could vote for the person that you want, and there will be a Democrat against McClintock. And so you get to choose which Democrat. That's incredibly empowering. Don't let that choice go. Make sure that you participate. Last thing is a little bit more personal. So you're a geoscientist?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that'd be lovely to have another scientist in office.
Yes, there's only one person that I know, and that's Bill Dodd, who is a scientist in Congress.
So now I just interviewed Jess Phoenix as well. She's also a scientist.
Correct.
So we could triple the number of scientists in Congress if you send Jess and Roza in.
Yes, yeah, she's a volcanologist, so yeah, geology.
That's very close. Oh, you guys are going to be best friends in Washington.
Best friends. Yes.
All right. Again, check out the links down below in the description box in YouTube and in the comment section on Facebook. Roza, go get them. Do us proud.
Thank you so much for the special edition. It was great seeing you again.
All right. Thank you.